Hi everybody, my name is Robin and welcome to my channel Bird's Eye Stitches. This is a channel about cross stitch, so if you are new here, then welcome. I hope you are here because you have a love of cross stitch like I do. And if you are returning, then still welcome. Clearly you are here because you have a love of cross stitch like I do. Today is Sunday. It is September 22nd, almost done with the month of September. Time has absolutely flown. I have all kinds of things to share with you all. New bird, right? Hold on, wait for it. There you go. Right there. New bird on the bird wall. Very exciting. I probably should have taken the bird down so I could show it to you in up close, but you all have seen it before, and I will pull that one down for the next video. For now, we are making slow and steady progress on the wall. I have a couple things to put right in here. Although I might leave that hole so my head can fit there and just start over here. I don't know. But anyway, slow and steady progress. Just like behind me, you can see I've got some stacked up bins and whatnot. I'm going through my stitchy closet, which is where I hold most of my stuff. Doing a little bit of reorganization there so I can get some items pulled out to put on some either like a bookcase or a shelf, something down here, so that way it's not just a big open wall. I can display some other fun things. So anyway, work in progress in the stitch room, but I'm happy that I'm here, and I got lots to talk about. So since my last video, last video I believe I was just starting school. I completely underestimated the amount of time and effort and just energy that school would take out of me. Anyone who goes to school as an adult, you know, where you're trying to juggle your full-time job, parenting, and going to school, you all know it's hard, right? Obviously, we all do it. It can be done, but it takes a lot out of you. For those of you who don't know, I work for a police department here, and I'm not sworn, but I do manage a number of the non-sworn divisions within our department. And my agency, they sent me to a school. I say sent me, I worked, it was online, but they allowed me to attend the Northwestern School of Command, which is a school where mainly sworn police officers attend. Anyone who is going to be moving into a commander type role within their organization. Just about everybody goes to this Northwestern School of Command. So I attended with the intention of moving into a non-sworn civilian commander role. Hopefully that happens. If it doesn't, I still learned a lot in the 22-week course. Man, I learned a little bit of everything, and happy to do it, happy to be done, and happy to be back to stitching. So that's where I've been for the most part. Daughter's doing great, husband's doing great. Life, it just keeps on moving, which is great. So, all right, that is it for life updates. Now I have stitching updates. I have a whole stack of stuff that I've been working on. Most of it really relates to AB Singo, which of course is the month-long pop-up challenge. Is it still a pop-up challenge if it runs for a whole month? I don't know, but it's our month-long challenge through Magazine Monthly Challenge, the Facebook group. So I've been working on stuff for that. I did attend Stitching in the Wild, so I've got, I'm going to talk about updates and things like that throughout the video as I show everything. I've got a haul from Stitching in the Wild. This really amazing bag from Stitching in the Wild, Gary and Ronnie. Oh my goodness. This was a glorious gift. Number one, all of us stitchers, we love a good bag. Burlap, large enough to hold everything that I purchased while there, which is excellent. Well done. So Stitching in the Wild, whips, AB Singo, plans, the norm. We'll get right to it. Okay, so AB Singo. Somehow I don't have a bingo yet. Luckily, we're about to hit our makeup week. AB Singo, right? We call a letter every day, and there's only 25 letters or 25 spaces on our board. So we're on the 22nd, so we've only got 3 more letters, and then we have a little bit of makeup time, which is glorious. So my board currently looks like this. I've done quite a bit, but I have some definite catching up to do. I did not do a lot of AB Singo stitching while I was at Stitching in the Wild, so I'll be making that up throughout the rest of this month. We are there. I just sat my little planner down and it almost crushed my tiny little axolotl. So I'm going to show this little guy now. If you can see this here, this adorable little axolotl, this was a gift from Raylyn. She is someone who has always commented on my videos. She's active on Facebook. Extremely nice person who I have not gotten to meet in person yet. So I absolutely love when I get to meet people and put real faces to the names and real faces to the chats. Raylyn was one of those people, and she brought me a super cute little yellow axolotl, which my daughter loves, but she can't have it because I'm keeping it right here on my little filming desk to keep me company. And so thank you so much for that. But now I'm going to move them up so I don't crush them with all of my goodies. All right, first stitchy piece to show you all. This is my current travel piece. Obviously, with going to Stitching in the Wild, I've had lots of travel as of late. The flight from Arizona to Alabama, actually we flew into Georgia. I went with my husband. So we flew into Georgia. That flight was it was like 3.5 hours. So it was 3.5 hours there. The flight back, there was actually some type of medical emergency or something on the plane. Everyone was okay, thank goodness, but they had to bring the plane back, allow someone to exit the plane, and then refuel. We'd only really driven, we didn't even take off yet, right? We literally backed out, and I'll say driven, but we just kind of went around, and then we circled around and drove back. But we had to refuel, and all of that took an extra hour or so. So the flight back, I got some extra stitching in, much longer. So we are working on this. This is Puppy Present by Satsuma Street. As you all know, I have quite a few of her ornaments, and I'm slowly working through the set. There. This around. Am here. So made quite a bit of progress. I may have started this on the plane actually. I kind of got it all kitted up, and then I think I started it on the plane or right before. But so pretty much all of this was done on the flight. So as you can see, I have most of the face and the hat. It still needs some beading. That's why it doesn't have any eyeballs, and I need to backstitch the mouth. I've got the majority of the bow done. I just have a little bit more down here. And then this here is really just fill in for the present. So I will keep this out. I've got quite a few car trips and things like that to do. So this will stay with me in the car. And hopefully I will have at least the cross stitching done here in the very near future. Now what I do need to do is after I'm done with the cross stitching, I need to keep this out in my normal nightly stitching plan. Maybe I'll put it down for the acrostic or something like that, because what always happens is I get this part done, and then because I can't bead, while I'm the passenger in a car, because I would have beads everywhere. So I get the cross stitching done, and then I never finish the beads. So yeah, we gotta update that plan just a little bit, but still lots of progress done on that guy. Next thing that I've been working on, this one is part of my AB Singo. So for AB Singo, I have 5 pieces, and each of them got 5 squares. So in theory, 5 hours of progress at least on each one throughout the month, hopefully. So this one is New Year in the Village by Alessandra Adelaide. Let's see. This one is being housed in my beautiful Garan Peter Pan bag. I just love, I'm not a huge Disney fan, but I do really love classic Disney. So this is one of my favorite bags. Plus it's gray, and you all know I love the grays. Okay. So, New Year in the Village will one day look similar to this. We are getting there, you guys. We are getting there. This piece, a little bit of backstory. This is the first, I'll say, fancy piece that I had ever picked up. And the reason why I call it fancy is because it's on a fancier fabric, and it's a big piece, for me anyway. Before this piece, all I'd ever really stitched on was like kits, or like the little card things that came in the magazines on Ada, things like that. So this was my first like dip into a real pattern and fancy fabric. I started this when I first started my Flosstube journey a number of years ago. So I am very excited to see a real finish on this. And we're getting there. We are here. So obviously I swapped out the fabric. I am using a piece of opalescent Storm Even Weave by Fabrics by Stephanie, which she does my favorite fabrics because I can stitch on this. Even though it's opalescent, it's still fairly simple to stitch on. Side note, because I did say I was going to talk a little bit about the Stitching in the Wild retreat as I'm going through here. I met Stephanie from Fabrics by Stephanie at the Stitching in the Wild event, and I had a number of starstruck moments, but this was definitely one of them. Number one, I didn't realize she would be there. Not sure why, but I didn't even know she was going to be there. Number two, I didn't know who she was until Carolyn was like, "This is Fabrics by Stephanie." And I'm like, what? So Stephanie had come over to our table, and I got to sit at table 7, which I love the number 7. So we were sitting at table 7, and Stephanie came over. She was just chit-chatting with everybody there at the event. She had asked what it was I was working on, and I'll show you that piece a little later. But anyway, I was working on a piece, and I had it in my mind, because I'm silly, that I could finish the little block that I was working on that day. When I looked at it, it looked like there wasn't that much stitching. That was a lie, but that's what it looked like. So I had asked my table mates, I was like, I bet I can get this done. All of them said, there's no chance you're getting that done today. But Stephanie, she looked at it, and she, she was just being nice, but she was like, oh yeah, you can do that. So I was like, hey, what is your name? Because you were the first person that was like, you got this, And she goes, well, my name is Stephanie. And that's when Carolyn says, well, this is Fabrics by Stephanie. And I'm like, you literally make my favorite fabric, which she then asked me which one, which I felt was like a pop quiz, but it's this one. This is my favorite fabric for 2 reasons. One, it's easy to stitch on. It's beautiful. I love the gray. I love the modeling, the marble color to it. It's just very pretty. But 2, it was my first ever fancy fabric purchase. So, backstory there. But anyway, with the stitching, we're almost done. I got through all of the stitching in the house was done, I think, throughout this month. I've only put 3 hours in so far, but we got this done here. I had to do a little bit of frogging in this house because, I just had to do a smidge of frogging. I usually try to skip the frogging, but if I didn't, then my lines would not have lined up, and it would have been very obvious that the house was like falling apart or something, and we don't want that. So did some frogging, did some fill-in. All I have left, I say all, but all I have left is there is one more house here, this fill-in, and then the big old firework. So all of this is done, all of this is done, and we're right here. We're on a home stretch. So this one will be staying out. I am really trying to work towards some finishes. I've got a number of pieces that are very close. I also have a lot of starts. So therefore, I need to get some finishes under my belt. But that is where we are at for New Year in the Village. Next up. All right, next up, we'll do this one. All right, next up in my super pretty Ever tote bag. While we're telling backstories here, so that last piece was my first ever fancy fabric purchase. This was actually my first ever bag purchase. And because I had to pay for it to come from Canada, it was a spendy bag purchase, but it's still one of my very most loved bags. Obviously, I love the birds, I love the colors, the pop of red. It is just classic, and I still love it to this day. So, all right, this one holds. This is the piece that I was actually working on at Stitching in the Wild when Stephanie came over. This one here is Jack Frost Tree Farm by Little House Needleworks. I am doing the entire large piece all together on one piece of fabric. I am finished with the top block, and I am working on what I'm doing is block number 2. Douglas fir. One day it will look like this. And currently, it's very wrinkled, but this is the top block. And it looks like this. So fold this for you so you can see it a little bit better. I got to here. So this got a number of hours at Stitching in the Wild. This is a piece that's on my AB Single board. So I have done all 5 of the, there might be one that hasn't been called yet. So this might come back out one more time. But for the most part, this won't get a whole lot more love this month, but it's going to stay out for next month because we're getting there. I still had this whole car to do, and I don't know, a little bit of like fluff around the top or something like that. When I tried to say I was going to finish it on day 1, didn't happen. I stitched on this day 1 and day 2 and got this far. But when I started, I think I showed it on my last video, but when I started this, all I had done was like this piece of the outline here, like half of it, and then this little top branch deal with maybe a smidge of these, part of the words, like DOU, and these trees. So, yeah. In fact, these trees were not even done, they were partially done. So I did the rest of these trees, the rest of the words, this big guy, the bulk of the car, all the outline, all that stuff. So pretty soon, block 2 will be complete. This one is going to be staying in the rotation because I would love to have this one as a large finished piece by like next Christmas. So even if I'm not doing, 1 block a month, with everything else I'm going to be working on, even though I've been getting back to stitching, 2 to 3 hours each night, I have way too many other great things to work on. But if I can even get small little chunks done each month, then hopefully by next Christmas, it'll be done. We'll see. And that was Jack's Tree Farm. Right. The tricky part is restacking this stuff up so it doesn't topple in the middle of the video. I have faith. Okay, next thing I have been working on. So I brought this piece to Stitching in the Wild, but I did not work on it at Stitching in the Wild because I had to pull a new color floss. And they did have a pop-up store there, but they didn't really have a whole lot of floss at the store, right? They had some package floss for their exclusive things they were selling there, but there's only so much space, so they just didn't have any floss. Luckily, I did go to Garan's store, like the real store. We'll talk about that later, but number 1, it's glorious, and number 2, I got to shop for a purple with Gary, so that was awesome. But I now have that, and so I'll be able to get some stitches done on this throughout the month, but I've definitely worked on this since you've seen it last. So this is Home Sweet Haunted Home. Comes from this magazine. Slowly but surely making progress on this guy. One day it's gonna look something like this. And currently it looks currently it is looking like this. So it is way easier to show these things when they're on Q-snaps, but everything is all off the snap because it was traveling. So we're here. So this piece, obviously the moon sticks out. You can see it, it's beautiful, I love it. But the other color that I currently have, well, it's not done, but the other color that's on here is very close to the called for. It is very close to what the finished design looks like, but it does drive me a little bit nuts because I can't really see it. So if you see here, there's like clouds and there's background going on. And it's supposed to just be kind of like the shadowy spot, but you can't even really see it on the finished piece, but it is there. So I'm not using the called for. I just, pulled from stash, but I tried to make my colors mimic what was here. So, so they do, in the sense that I can't really see it on my piece either. In person, it's a little bit better, but you can see there's like a cloud there, and we're just starting in on the background here at the bottom. So what I'm going to do is outline these. I saw in Carolyn's piece, a piece that she brought with her to Stitching in the Wild, she had something similar happen with the piece she's working on, to where you can't really see the stitching on the fabric. It's by design, that's how it is in the actual pattern, but you can't really see it when you look at it. And when she outlined it with just, one strand of a little slightly darker color, it made it pop a little bit better. So I'm gonna do the same for that. But what I ran into is the secondary color that I pulled to be the medium purple here. There's a really like light lavender, I guess, and then there's like a medium purpley gray here. So the color that I had pulled just matches the fabric too closely. So this looks darker in person, but when I laid it and when I did some test stitches on the fabric, it is way too close. And I couldn't have two colors that I could not see. Plus, this is like the bulk of the house, so I really needed something that was going to stand out a lot more than this, which is why I had to go shopping and I pulled a new color for it. So the color that I ended up with, where did it go? Thanks to some advice by Gary, it's a Silken Colors Medieval Mulberry. And this one's looking a little darker than it does in person, but this is going to serve as the medium. It also has a really nice variegation to it, like a blue, purple, gray, which should look really nice against this fabric and will help, give some dimension to the house. So I'm excited to work with this. But since you guys have seen it last time you guys saw it, I had most of the moon done. There is a lot of stitches in this dang moon. So this is a beast. The moon is completely done. I've got some clouds, I've got some background, and hopefully next time you guys see it, all the light color, the light lavender color will be done, and I will get started on that medium purple, which is the bulk of the house. So it is funny because this piece is not very big, but I don't know, there's just a lot of stitching. It's the moon, there's a lot of stitching in the moon. So looking forward to getting that one finished up at some point. And for some reason, that one is just hanging out in my official Ziploc bag. I don't know why I never upgraded it, but it's working out. All right, next up is another piece from my AB Singo board. It is called Funky Bird. And this is another one where I've got 3 pieces that are fairly close to a finish, and this is one of them. So Funky Bird is being housed in my Garan Fox bag. Love this one. Okay. So one day it will look like this. They've got it sideways, so I'll hold it straight. It is Funky Bird by Barbara Anna Designs. It is a sampler, so I'm not really doing sampler September, but this does count, and it's September because there is letters and I am stitching the letters. In fact, I did stitch a couple of letters on this piece already this month. So I'm stitching this one on a piece of 32 count even weave by Fortnite Fabrics. I don't know what it's called because I can't read the writing. Valetary? I don't know. It looks very similar to this one. So I am here making progress. So I am doing just stitching from stash on this one. I pulled what I could. Some of it is the called for, but most of it is just close enough, I guess you could say. I did the rest of the stitching in the body, a couple of these letters. I've done all of these wings and this outline, as well as the little designs in the bird's head. I have more, but I just haven't pulled it yet. I actually ran out of black coffee, which is the color that is used for the outline. So I was kind of sad by that because I really wanted to have the outline done so I could start filling in. But I ran out. I was using a halfway used black coffee, and so I have more in my stash, so no big deal there. I just got to pull it, but we are here. This piece I have done all 5 of the letters that it was assigned to from AB Singo. So officially this one is done for the month, but I will be picking it back up next month because all that's left, right, is the rest of the wings, the fill-in of the head, and then the letters that go around the outside, and the rest of this branch. So we are here. This Funky Bird will end up on the bird wall, maybe here. My head will go here, it'll go there. That'll work. Okay, and I might have some more in my haul bag. Well, it is a haul bag, but there's all kinds of junk in there. But the only other piece that I've been actively working is this one here. So this is actually a bag that I purchased at Stitching in the Wild in the pop-up shop. I wasn't going to get a bag, but I was enabled by Carolyn because it has flowers that are beautiful and it has a beautiful bird. So flowers and birds, I got one, Carolyn got one. It was a piece that we could kind of get together, and I mean, it's beautiful. So plus I have not purchased a new bag in a really long time. So there's that. Okay, this was a new start. This is one that I started at Stitching in the Wild, and it was one of their exclusives. So it's by Lottie Da. It is called Ghost Pumpkin. It will one day look like this. I'm doing called for everything because I got the whole kit at Stitching in the Wild. So looks like this. It's funny because they allowed for a like a preview night, and so we all went to the preview to see what kind of goodies would be for sale the next morning. I was Carolyn's official secretary in that we went into the shop. Both of us like a list, both of us like a plan. I had gotten this amazing little notebook from Karen, who is, her Flosstube is Stitching Past My Bedtime. And thank you, Karen, because I could just read it right here on the sticker. So this, number one, I love the color red. Number two, it was like the perfect size, so I was super happy about this little notebook. I'm using it all the time, so Karen, if you're watching, thank you so much. But anyway, so we go into the shop, and I had the list, made the list of all the things that we wanted to really get in, find, and then get back out, because everyone was excited to shop and there was limited numbers of certain things. So they had tons of charts, but they did not have a whole bunch of the fabric or floss packs for this, and Carolyn and I knew that we wanted to start it together as our Stitching in the Wild start. So that was like top of the list. So this one is being stitched on, let's see, it is Weeks Dye Works Confederate Gray, a 32 count linen. And you all will be very proud of me. I am working on being better about this, but I actually filled out my tag. So I guess I could just read my tag instead of digging everything out of this bag, but it's a habit. So reading the tag, Ghost Pumpkin by Lottie Daw, stitched on Confederate Gray 32 count linen. And it is the DMC called for colors, which are beautiful. So anyway, Carolyn and I both got the thread pack, and if people were there at the retreat, if they got the pattern and had some fabric, we were just sharing some of our floss because it's just DMC, and we didn't want someone to not be able to start this piece just because they didn't have the floss. So there was a pretty good group of people that were all starting this together, so that'll be really fun. All right, so I got to, okay, I didn't get super far, but I got somewhere. Here. So I started with the border. I am here. This will stay in my rotation, so I'll be stitching on this a little bit more later on this month. I would like to get at least the border and maybe a little bit of the hat. So the border will go all the way around with that little design. I want to get a little bit of the hat done just to bring in some color, and so I know what way is up for the next time that I pull it out. I am not going to put the year in, and I will probably find some type of charms. I've got some like star charms already in my closet, so I'm probably going to do like charms or like little leaves or something like that instead of stitching these, even though I mean they're pretty, but I just think that would be fun to add, like bedazzle it a little bit. But that is, I love this piece. I love how happy the pumpkin is. I say I'm not a huge Halloween stitcher, yet here I'm going to be starting a lot of Halloween pieces. I don't really have that many as it is, but this one is like very autumn, very fall, and I can use it to decorate throughout, you know, the whole autumn months. So that's exciting. There. It's going to be a minute though, because, well, I just have a little bit of border done, but still a good start. I was extremely happy that all of my border matched up. As you all know, when you're at a retreat, you're talking the whole time, and I had to be very mindful to make sure that my box actually made a box, and it did. So that's where we're at. Also, I love my little brave little toaster needle minder. Don't ask me where I got it. I've had it a while, but it is one of my very favorites. One of my favorite movies from when I was a kid, and I just love the brave little toaster. Super cute. Okay, so 34 minutes in, that is pretty much it for the stitching. Like I said, over this last month, I've been stitching roughly anywhere from 1 to 3 hours a night. So I'm really happy about that, because for the last couple of months I hadn't done any stitching while going to school and whatnot. I would jump online, I would watch Flosstube, I would look at all your guys' great stuff, but I just was not stitching at all. So it's been really nice to get back into that. Getting back into the planning has been really fun, making better notes, all of that. I've just loved it. I got to see Carolyn in person for Stitching in the Wild, and I have not watched her Stitching in the Wild recap video yet. I'll be watching that later tonight, but I'm sure she talks about this, about her and I did get to plan for the Magazine Monthly Challenge Cross Stitch Facebook group for 2025. We got our theme done, we got our acrostics done. Carolyn had an extremely good idea for some added things to do with our acrostics and our theme. So watch for that next year. And pop-up challenges, we got those planned out. We have some new ones. We kept the ones where we had a whole lot of activity, lots of people marked going on the Facebook groups to the pop-up events. We kept those, but we added in some new ones. A lot of really fun things there. And it was glorious to do the planning in person, because last year we didn't get to meet in person, so we did it over Zoom. Still fun, but we laughed until we cried multiple times trying to plan this out, and that is the mark of a good planning session in my book. So very thankful to be able to do that, and I'm really excited for you guys to see all of that stuff next year. Okay. If you're not part of that group, I will put a link down, and so you can join. Just make sure to fill out the questions of, who's your favorite designer, all that stuff, because we've been getting some spam people as of late, and so we just want to make sure that you're a real human. So just fill those out. Okay, next step. This is going to be a bag of haul, which will also include plans and some recap, of Stitching in the Wild, all of the fun. So it's in this glorious bag. So when we first got to Stitching in the Wild, right, you check in. It was actually funny because my welcome pack was under my old last name, Hall, because when I joined that event, that was my name. But you sign up a while ago, and obviously things have happened, right? I've been married since then, so now I have a different last name, and so I've forgotten that. So I gave them my name, and they were like, "We know you're coming to this, but we don't have your stuff." So then light bulb went out, and I'm like, check under Hall. So anyway, they found it. We got the bag. When I first arrived at the retreat, so I traveled there with my husband, and we pulled up to the hotel, and as we're checking in, it was actually my husband who spotted Gary, but Gary was checking in. Like, he was in line and getting ready to check in, and I was like, I don't want to be a pain, like I don't want to hassle him. Like, he's just trying to live life and check in, right? I know we're not like really a celebrity, but like in my mind, Gary and Ronnie are kind of like celebrities, so I didn't want to be like fangirling while you're just trying to check into your hotel. So I'm like, I'll see him later. So anyway, we walked out. And as my husband and I walked out of the hotel, we saw Ronnie, and Ronnie came over and he recognized me, which was like, oh my gosh, like he knew that it was me, and he called me Robin, right? He was like, Robin. And I got to give Ronnie a hug and just meet him in person, right? Had never done that before. He got to meet my husband. We ran into Ronnie a number of times outside as we were running errands, and so we always got to chit chat. And he is nice in person, not nicer than he is online. Just a genuine, kind person. So that was super exciting. After that, I ran into. We were still just out front of the hotel, and Dina from Half Stitch Cross Stitch and Karen came up, Dina and Donna, and Harley, Donna's amazing little dog, they all came up. They were just getting their luggage and everything, and so I got to say hi to Dina, and obviously I talk with Dina through the Magazine Monthly Challenge Zoom calls, and so I knew who she was from her Flosstube, which I watch all the time, and I know who she is through our Magazine Monthly Challenge Zoom calls, but again, I'd never met her in real life. So that was amazing. She got to meet me and my husband, and so before we even started anything, this was the day before the retreat started, I already got to meet some really great people and start making those connections. So in-person connections. So my heart was very full. So that was great. That was my table, actually. I sat at table 7 with Dina, Donna, sometimes Harley if he was there for just a few minutes, and of course Carolyn from SITW Stitch. So it was the 4 of us there. We thought we were going to have a couple more people at our table, but they ended up sitting somewhere else, which was okay, because what that did is it allowed for space for people to come and join us at our table. You know, they would do some cross stitching, they would sit down and talk, and we had enough space that people could land there, chit chat, and then leave, right? They could go wherever they needed to go. So that worked out perfect. Okay, let's see, where do we start? So when I go to retreats, I use, there we go. Okay, so when I go to retreats, I use this lap stand. I got this lap stand from Gary and Ronnie's shop online. And it works great for traveling for me. I don't use it daily at home, but when I travel, right, it breaks down like this. And then whenever you are sitting at the table, you just put this together, and then you have this nice little lap stand that goes like this, so you can stitch, right? The reason why I'm pulling it out now is because one of the things that I got from Gary and Ronnie's shop is I finally got a grime guard for this thing. So the grime guard for this obviously is special for this stand because it has to have the holes cut out and finished. I should frame this for the bird wall. There we go. But anyway, I finally got one of these because normally I didn't have one that would work. And so it was really hard to finagle putting a piece on this stand if there was extra, trying to like roll it and, you know, put the little clamps and stuff on there. It was a pain. It worked, but it was a pain. And I am so spoiled with Ronnie's grime guards because there's the extra fabric and the really good elastic to where you can roll stuff up and this will like hold it tight. So I'm very excited that this now has its own grime guard. It's very pretty. It's just a bright floral. They didn't have any birds, but they did have flowers, so it's like a close second. I'll take it. That is one of the things that I got while I was there. Next up, this I actually picked up. It made the list. So I picked up their pony black needles, which I've never heard of. But when we were in the preview, there was some stitchers in there and they got very excited about these pony black needles. They were like, I can't believe you got these. They're so hard to come by. We love them. So I'm like, I got to see what's up with these needles. I always am looking for some new needles to try. So let's try them out. So I got just the 26 pony black needles. I do like them. I like that, number one, they stand out because they have like a black bottom and the white top. So as you're stitching, you can really see your needle against your fabric. I also like that they appear to be heavier, right? Like they just have more weight to them, in my opinion. And it might just be that way because I can see them. So like my brain tells me they're heavier, but they seem to have some good weight to them, which I really like. They also appear to go through my fabric a little bit easier. I don't know if they're really sharper, but they glide right through, which is nice. The only thing that I don't fully love is I don't really use a needle threader. And so I like when the eye of the needle is a little bit wider. And these ones, it's like longer. So it's great if you use a needle threader. I can still thread my needle without it. It's just not quite as easy as my other needles, but I will still use these and love these. I would probably even purchase other ones. I don't know if I would purchase a smaller needle because I think I'd really have a hard time threading it, but if I wanted to get a larger needle, I would all day long purchase this brand. So look like this. And I am using one of these on my La Di Da piece because obviously I started it there. So I figured what better time to use my new needles. I did not purchase this at the retreat, but I'm going to bring it up because I learned how to use it at the retreat, and I had it stored currently with these needles. So this right here, I have no idea what the real name of it is. I call it the shooting star because it's got a little star on there. I don't know what's going to happen if I get another one of these, like if this thing breaks and I get one that doesn't have a star on the end. Well, I just can't. They're all going to have a star from now on because that's just the way it is. But it looks like this. So Carolyn has one of these as well, and I had to use hers a couple of times because one of the pieces I was working on, I kept knotting my thread. I don't know what the deal is, but my thread kept knotting, and so twice it was like a crazy knot, so I had to cut it. And then of course I had that little tail piece that was just sticking out, and I needed to run my tail through the rest of my stitches, and I didn't have enough to be able to use the needle to do that. So insert shooting star. There we go, now you can see it. Now it looks like a magic wand. But anyway, insert the shooting star where you could actually run this through the back of your fabric, put the little floss tail through here, and then whoosh, you pull it, and voila. Like magic. This is a very handy tool that I did not realize how handy it is. Now that I have used one, this thing has already gotten more use at home. Not because I knotted my fabric, but because I had like this much stitches left and I was being lazy and did not want to pull a whole new piece of floss for that. So I like really used it to the end, and there was no way I was going to be able to finagle the needle back through. So I'm like, there's a tool for that. So if you don't have one of these, I would tell you how to get one, but I don't know what it's really called. So if you know what it's really called, please let me know. It's a super basic tool, but for me, it was new and exciting. So got that. All right, next piece I picked up at Garand's shop, and this is going on my plans list. I'll be starting this next month. I need to kit it up from stash because I saw it in the shop. I thought it was goofy. I told my husband about it, and he about died laughing. He was like, I need that chart. Please get it. Please stitch it for me. I will put it up at my desk. He loved it. So here we have I Love My Cat by Dirty Annie's. As you can see, that is not a cat, it is a possum. We did see a possum in Georgia. So my husband and I, we stayed the first night before the retreat in Georgia. We flew into Atlanta and we stayed outside of Peachtree City just to do some sightseeing and exploring because, I mean, when else will we be in that neck of the woods? Well, we'll be there next year. But that was our mindset, right? Like, we need to see this new area of the country because I'd never been. So, so while we were in Georgia, behind the hotel we were staying at, we saw a big old possum. Like, it looked like this. So this big old possum came out. We talked to the possum, as you do when you're a tourist, and I've never seen a possum in real life. So, so that was really cool. Then I found this chart, and it is pretty funny, right? I love my cat, not a cat. Dirty Annie's, I'm actually really enjoying her pieces. I've got a couple of them here to show that I purchased. So I'm going to kit this up. I know I have fabric that will work. My husband has already asked if I could do it on like a light brown so we can put it up at his work. And I'm just gonna pull what I have in my stash for the floss and get this one started up next week because I'm getting ready to start it. I put it in a bag. This is the 805 stitcher. Very pretty. So I figured it's not a squirrel, but it's a rodent, so it could go in the acorn bag. It's close enough. So you got that one starting next month, and more on that to follow. Next up, this is also a plan/purchase. I picked this one up. This is a chart that was an exclusive at the retreat, so I got this one in the pop-up room. And this is Fox and Rabbit, Witch's Hearth. looks like this. Again, I'm not huge on Halloween, but what I loved and what sold me, I love her dress. It is going to be a pain in the rear end to stitch. I already know this. Yeah, I'm not super excited for that, but it's beautiful and it will be worth it. So I picked this up. I was just gonna pick up the chart and then because I was shopping with Carolyn, and if any of you all are lucky enough to go shopping with Carolyn, things just fall in your cart, and somehow I ended up with the called for fabric, which is Fox and Rabbit Duxbury, a 32 count linen. Looks like that. So I'm pretty sure I have something similar, but it was there, so we got that one. And then I got the DMC floss pack, and you can see it is all ready to go for a new start. This is actually going to be started this month, maybe even tonight, I'm not sure, but I'm going to start it. I'm going to put a few hours in on it, and then I don't know when I'll pull it back out. Like I might keep it out in October just because it's a Halloween piece. It's not going to be done in October, but it'll be started, make some progress, and then I'll take it out again sometime next year. But it's ready to go. It's super exciting. And look, Carolyn, when you're watching, I labeled my floss. So backstory on that one. At the retreat, the Jack's Tree Farm piece I was working on, I didn't have my floss labeled because I had moved it from one bag to another to travel. Actually, when I started that second block, I put it in a different bag, and I didn't bring, like I got new floss and stuff like that for the next block, and it wasn't labeled, right? I could tell when I was working on it what color was what, but I kept on having to go back and pull the color from my bag and see what it was, right, before I found the already cut piece that was on my like holder. So it was slowing me down, basically. I was just being lazy. I was like, it's fine, it will work for now, and I'll take care of it when I get home. Well, night one, I went up to my room at night, and Carolyn stayed down and was stitching later, and she worked with the table mates. Donna had some little tabs, right, that she had brought. So she used some tabs from Donna. Thank you so much, Donna, for that. And Carolyn labeled my floss. So I say it's kind of like when someone else makes you a peanut butter jelly sandwich, how it tastes better. It was just so much better because somebody else labeled my floss. I labeled my own this time, but still. It was a fun story, and it was a super nice surprise to see. So, all right, that was Witch's Hearth. Again, that's going to be started this month, so you guys should see something on that for the next video, even if it's just, I'm going to middle start this one, so it'll probably just be this little bird and some writing or something like that. That's there, and I'm keeping this one in my Crafty Corey Stitches bag. I just love the bright colors. It is not Halloween-y, but again, I don't own much Halloween, so it was an open bag. Next up in haul, I have the matching small bag to my large bag. So when there is a matching small bag, I don't need a lot of these, but these really come in handy for like that travel piece that I was working on. They fit really well in here. And any like little smalls like cards and things like that, I like to put in this size bag. So we got that. I got this chart from the actual shop, so this was not from the pop-up, it was from the shop itself, but I'm going to be starting this with Carolyn at some point. It's going to be finished into a drum, which, Tammy, it will come your way one day, not sure when, but it looks like this. It is winter whites. Now, mine will not look like this because it's a smidge brown for me. It's beautiful, and you know, Carolyn gave me a hard time because a lot of the pieces I was drawn to were like browns and kind of muted colors. So She actually tried to tell me that I was a prim stitcher, which I don't agree with. No, not really. You know, I like a very wide variety of stuff, right? I like bright colors, I like grays, I like yellows, I like prims, I like everything. But I just don't love the brownness of this one. So, you know, I want to put in some more like Christmas greens with the white. I like with my Christmas stuff for it to really pop, right? Like I already have Jack's Tree Farm that's got a lot of browns and greens and whites. So for my drum, I'm just envisioning something a little bit brighter. So we'll see on that. But there's only a couple colors. It's not very big. So I'm hoping to at least kit this up over this next month. And I'll probably start it, I don't know, maybe December, no, to be determined, but got that one. The next chart, I got this one from the pop-up room. It is not an exclusive, I don't think, pretty sure it's not. It's by Stitchy Pros. It's called Boot Scootin' Spooky. I just bought this because it's adorable. No other reason other than I was like, how creative and cute is that? So I don't know when I'll ever start him, but he's amazing. So we'll see on that one. Next chart I picked up is, this one was one of the exclusives, and I have really fallen in love with the Little Robin designs. I own 6 or 7 of them, and I just, pretty much everything she makes, I love. Also, her name is Robin, so, you know, Robins are awesome. What can I say? This is Wilding Hill Manor. They had this one stitched up, and it was just beautiful in person. I didn't buy the fabric because obviously with my love of grays, I 100% have fabric very similar to what's shown here. So when the time comes for me to stitch this, I should be able to pull from stash for that. I absolutely loved, straight-ish, I loved this. This was super pretty. It's like this really pretty like little vine guy, very dainty, very well done. You all know I love these weird trees, like these weeping willow-esque trees. I just love them, so I had to do that. The moon was just beautiful when I saw it in person. And these, they're probably supposed to be bats, but bird bats, whatever these things are. I love the whole look of it. So that will be stitched one day. Oh, I just noticed there is a 1713 here. I will probably leave that out, but there's something going on in there. All right, another Dirty Annie's design, and I actually picked this up because I thought my husband would like it, and it's cute, and the colors, I really like the colors. Like the colors will match my house. So this is Dirty Annie's Alibi. Looks like this. It says, I've got a shovel and an alibi, which is pretty funny. This could also be a really funny one for me to hang up in my office at work. So super cute. Not sure when that'll come out, but I liked it. So also, look how pretty is this? It's like a miniature fancy lady. This dress is so pretty, and I love those colors. Next up, so I'm not showing all of the little like freebie gifts and things like that came around. I use all of them. So as I use them to kit these things up and things like that, I'll probably talk about a lot of them throughout future videos, like you'll see them again. But obviously one of the things that I got was this axolotl, this little guy here. You'll see this one quite a bit because like I said, I'm gonna leave him on my filming table. But I also received this amazing pumpkin. How pretty is this? I don't really have a lot of pumpkins, and I was trying to figure out how I wanted to decorate for fall this year. You know, this being a relatively new house for me, like this has been the first time that I've really wanted to like decorate a room for the holiday or things like that. So I'm just kind of dipping my toe into that a little bit. And I was like, I need some pumpkins. So this was a perfect timed gift here. I got this one from Andrea. So Andrea does not have a Flosstube, even though I keep trying to get her to make one because it would be amazing. But Andrea is on Instagram. I have my notes here. She is the Fancy Stitcher on Instagram. So this was one of the little gifts that she had brought. She didn't make this. This was done by Southern Stitched by Tracy Berland, but it's so well done. It's got like a little wood topper piece, and then how cute is that? So thank you so much for that, Andrea. You will see this on a shelf back here at some point. We have that. Along with Andrea, I also got to meet her friend Becky, her friend in mind now that I've met her. But before this retreat, you know, I talked to Carolyn and Andrea all the time, and I'd only ever heard of the elusive Becky. So Becky is someone who travels with Andrea to different retreats. Obviously they're friends, and I'd never met her or even really talked to her, but I always heard stories about Becky. So I got to meet her. Becky, if you watch Flosstube, hi, great to meet you. You're amazing in person. And Becky, I love that Becky, she gave a tiny little gift bag, and hers was themed. So I just brought the floss, but she did hers themed to Elvis. So I love a theme. So she's like after my own heart there. A little gift bag had like a little Elvis book. It had, you know, like they did like a play on the peanut butter banana sandwiches that he eats. Blue suede shoes, right? Was like, you know, all those things. So within her little bag, she gave Weeks Dye Works blue suede. And I checked, I somehow don't even have this color. So that's amazing. It's beautiful. I'll be using this. So thank you so much for that, Becky. But yeah, we have blue suede and adorable pumpkin. Super cute. While we're talking about gifts, I didn't bring all the gifts, but I have this, which really came in handy. Both Dina and Donna made these, and I used this the whole retreat. So it's got a cute little frog background, nice and bright, which I love, but you snap it together. I'm being very careful with the snaps. I guess that some of the snaps were just going all over the place, so mine didn't. But this will stay in my retreat bag because it really comes in handy. It travels well because it's flat. And then once you get there, right, you do the snaps, and then I put all my little, my orts all went in here. And then I just put them in a baggie, brought them home with me so I could put them into the container where I collect my orts throughout the year. So thank you for that. This will stay with my travel bag, right? I just have a few things that I take with me. I don't go to many retreats, but it's nice to be able to grab my bag and have everything ready to go for whenever I do. So thank you for that. All right. This is not an exclusive or anything, but I am part of the Garan Fabric of the Month Club. And so since we were there, they were like, we'll bring you your fabric. So we didn't have to, you know, let it get shipped since they were going to be right there. So that was super, super thoughtful. And the fabric's beautiful. It is, if you're part of the Fabric of the Month, you haven't gotten it, you should have by now. But if you don't want to see this, then look away for a few seconds. Otherwise, this is the Fabric of the Month. This one, it was from Fabrics by Stephanie. Oh no, this one was from Seraphim Fabrics. And the color is Eternal Flame. I haven't taken it out of the bag yet, but it's a really nice orangey. Perfect for the fall. So I get a 32 count linen, so because most of my stitching is done on 32 count. I prefer even weave, but you know, linen's okay too. Like that. And part of the goodie bag was this adorable small bag stitched by Ronnie, obviously. Everyone who attended the Stitching in the Wild retreat got one of these. Looks like that. We're almost there, almost there. We also got a notebook in Garan Green, Stitching in the Wild. cannot go wrong with a notebook. Looks like this. So this will be added to the pile of notebooks. My daughter gives me a hard time because she's like, Mom, how can you have so many notebooks? The reality is you can never go wrong with a new notebook. You never know when you need one. And I end up using them all eventually. So thank you for this. All right. I picked up, I don't really know, I guess it's a thread keep, I guess. But this, I picked this one up because the picture reminded me of Carolyn. I got this one in the pop-up shop. So it's Carolyn and her cat, in case you didn't know. It's not really Carolyn and her cat, but it just reminded me of her. It's like a little girl with her little cat. So whenever I kit up probably the possum, I'm gonna put this thread keep on there. I told Carolyn it was gonna be my little creeper memento so she could be with me on all my projects along with her cat. So it looks like that, super cute. Of course, I had to get the official Garan Toten Bags t-shirt because I have another one somewhere. I don't know where it ended up. I had it in my old house. I don't know if it just got lost in the move. I have no idea. But they didn't have any in their shop that said I shopped at Garan Toten Bags, but I wanted to wait till I got to the shop to buy a shirt that said that. So I just ended up going with this one instead. But I now have my official Garan Green Garan Toten Bags t-shirt. So we have that there. And last but not least, a cute little Buc-ee's pin. So we don't have a Buc-ee's here in Arizona, although I'm told that we're getting one. I had never been to a Buc-ee's. It's a ginormous gas station. It's like a gas station, convenience store, whatever. We went to the Buc-ee's have it in my notes here, in Alabama. So I got this little enamel pin, and then I'm just going to take the back of it off. Actually, my husband will take the back of it off for me, and then I'm just gonna hot glue some magnets. So this will become my official Buc-ee's needle minder to remind me of the trip. So that will be super fun in the future. And that's it. That is the extent of my haul. Those are the table gifts that I'm going to show. With the exception of I received a really nice card from Shelly. Hi Shelly, if you're watching this. It's another one where, yeah, actually Shelly, I think I met you at a previous retreat. I can't remember. But either way, it was really nice to get to see you in person at this retreat. And Shelly had given a really nice card. She was stitching on a pattern at her table and was asking if people would stitch it. And I can't show you the pattern yet because I need to print it out. But within the card, she was like, here, stitch this pattern. But it was one that I had to go and purchase and download off of Etsy. So I picked it up and I downloaded it, but I'm gonna print it out over this next week so you guys can see what that's gonna look like. So Shelly, thank you so much for that. You'll see me starting that piece up next month. And so it's always fun to get to stitch on something that will remind me of the people that I met or the retreat that I went to. It's like those good reminder pieces are just, they're the best. So, that's why we're stitching the pumpkin together, even though I don't usually stitch a lot of pumpkins. Having that pumpkin around to, number one, make my home more festive, and number two, remind me of stitching in the wild. That's a win-win. So lots of those to come. Putting away my glorious new bag. And that's it. This is an hour-long video, which for me is very long. If you have made it to the end of it, thank you so much for being here. Please leave some comments below. Like I said, I'm done with school, kind of back in the swing of things. I don't want to jinx it, but I hope to see you all in a couple of weeks at the most. For those of you who are part of the Magazine Monthly Challenge group on Facebook, we do have our monthly Zoom call coming up. It is, let me look here, it's on Saturday, September 28th. So if you're not part of the group, make sure to join. If you are, I hope I will see you on that Zoom call. I will be there for that. And yeah, plans, get caught up on my AB Singo. So a number of those pieces you just saw, you're going to see again. Starting the Garan Stitching in the Wild exclusive chart from Fox and Rabbit. That witch piece, I'm going to get that one started. Kitting up the possum piece so I can start that in October is all on my plans list. And when I get something finished, because well, we'll talk about some of the floss tubes that I've been watching on my next video. But in one of them, I can't remember her name, but she's a new floss tuber to me, even though she's been around for a while. But Crafty Gaming something or other, I don't know. We'll talk more on this next time. But she is doing something called like Whip Down, I think, where she is essentially trying to finish 2 pieces for every 1 piece that she starts. I don't have nearly as many whips, but I do have a number of things that I'm starting, and I have a number of things that are near a finish. So, you know, I want to try to get a couple things done, and to like reward myself for those finishes, I want to start E Pluribus Unum, which I know you guys have seen Carolyn stitching. Donna, she does a lot of model stitching for Garan Shop, and she had finished that piece, and in person, it is beautiful. Like, I had to have it. So I picked that chart up. It isn't here yet because I just ordered it from Gary's site, and I'm gonna have them kitted up with the floss. I know I have fabric and stash, so that's fine, but I want to start that, but I can't do it till I get a finish. So root for me to get something done on that. But yeah, we'll see you next time. Please leave a comment. Please check in with me if you're on Facebook or on the Magazine Monthly Challenge group. And happy stitching, everybody. Bye.